Hello, everyone, and welcome to this, our second installment of monthly movie mini reviews for the month of July of the year 2021. I watched a ton of Is that Olivia on the? We have guest cat. Um, so I watched a lot of movies in July, which is why we're splitting this into two, maybe three parts if I don't, cut to the chase. So we're going to do that thing where I talk about two movies and then Kelly talks about one, and she only had one more from July, so she'll start getting into a couple of her June movies just so she has some stuff to talk about. So continuing on with my list, the next thing I saw, and we're only up to July 15th on my list. I watched a ton of. It's going to be two for you, one for me for the August thing, because it's August 22nd as we record this, and I've seen a grand total of 3 movies this month. I haven't watched it. It's been such a busy damn month for me.
It's
with
a busy
other
month.
stuff. So, okay, on July 15th, I watched, now stop me if you've heard tell of this one, Major Grom, Plague Doctor. Yeah,
nope, keep going.
it's a Russian superhero movie that's based on the comic book. Which I'd never heard of. I just saw it on Netflix. Yeah, Netflix. And I was like, what the hell is this? Oh, it's a superhero movie from Russia based on a comic book. All right.
All right.
I'll try it. It's okay. Like I found it kind of a frustrating watch because it does some things really well, and it does other things not so well. Like the major story beats work. Okay. And there's some really inventive action in this movie, but the characters are flat, the tone is inconsistent, the pacing is slow, and the storytelling ain't so great. Which are some pretty major hurdles to get over.
Those are like all of the hurdles.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's some nice camera work.
Okay.
And as I said, some of the action scenes are actually really inventive. Essentially, this is a super cop kind of movie. Major Grom. Yeah, Major Grom is just the bestest cop who has ever copped. And
I was thinking military because they're majors in the police force. I'm not very good at rankings.
It's essentially Dirty Harry, a cop who plays by his own rules, no matter what and his long-suffering boss is like, Major Grom. It's like, why don't you just fire him? I can't. He gets results. That kind of a thing.
That was Gadget.
Chief Quimby? Is that his name? So what's interesting is it feels like it's supposed to be a superhero movie, but I don't think it actually is. Like, it starts out with this really inventive chase scene with Major Grom chasing like bank robbers that have commandeered an armored truck and are escaping through the streets of Russia somewhere. And he's doing this restart time kind of thing where he'll run after the truck and he jumps after the truck and he opens the back door and they blow him away and he lies dead in the street and goes, well, shoot, that didn't work. Think. And he like starts it like he's Groundhog Daying this whole thing until he gets it right. Huh. And I'm like, okay, so he has the power to either rewind time or he's precognitive in some way. And that's interesting. No, that's not what's happening, because that completely exits the movie until like the very end where he does it again. And I'm like, wait a minute, he doesn't have any superpowers. He's just sitting there kind of thinking in his head where it's like, nah, if I did that, this would probably happen. So that I'm like, well, that's kind of less interesting.
That's a missed opportunity. That's like me interviewing myself in the shower for like future awards that one day I will win.
Yeah, practicing my like arguing with myself so that I'm well prepared for when someone brings up dumb crap to me
practicing comebacks in the shower.
That's right. Oh, if anyone ever says this, I know exactly how to respond. Hopefully I don't choke. So it's not terrible. It's too long. It's one of those movies. I had this happen several times in July, where I'd be like, okay, we're in the last act. We've probably got 10 or 15 minutes to go. I need to go to the bathroom. Pause. Oh my God, there's over an hour left. I'm like, no.
I
It's
hate,
like,
honestly, like I hate when you do that, when you pause it and there's so much left. But at the same token, I hate it when there's like 3 minutes left. I
it's
do
like,
that.
how are you going to wrap this up in 3 minutes?
Well, I watch, as we've noticed, I watch a lot more TV shows right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I have no sense of timing because I'm like kind of binging some TV shows, and so I'm like, oh, I have to pee, and I'll pause it, and there's like 2 minutes left. I'm like, I've just interrupted a flow. It's about to go to it. Literally is about to go to credits, and now I've just screwed it. So both stuff.
Fair point. So Major Grom, it's okay. There's, I think, yeah. Unfortunately, the characters are all just kind of flat. I didn't really care about any of the characters. There's some nice design work, some nice camera stuff. That there's Major Grom is not a superhero, but he is battling like kind of a super villain, which is kind of interesting. And that there's kind of an interesting twist behind that villain's story. It's not bad. It just doesn't totally work. But so there you go, Major Grom.
But do you like him?
Major Grom himself? This is probably a cultural thing, but this is definitely not the guy who would be cast in this role in America. I think for our Western sensibilities, he's a bit too everyman. You're like, this guy, really?
Got it.
This dork with his silly hat. You're not fooling anybody, Major Grom. Yeah, it's an interesting watch. I wasn't sad that I didn't feel I wasted my time on it. There was enough good stuff in it, but overall didn't really come together. So the next thing I watched was Fear Street Part 3, 1666, following up on the two other installments of this slasher movie cinematic universe kind of thing that they were doing. So I was actually kind of afraid going into this one. I'm like, okay, if they drop the ball anywhere, it's going to be in this final installment.
Right.
But I'm happy to report that they really wrap this whole thing up in a pretty satisfying bow. I was really impressed with 1666. So quick recap, the first one, 1994, there's a slasher on the loose, apparently raised by the witch Sarah Fear, who was killed in 1666 and since cursed the town so that a slasher would show up every generation. So the kids in 1994 are dealing with the results of that curse, and they go to the survivor of one of the last events that happened and say, how did you survive? Maybe if we hear your story, we'll figure out how to survive this. So the next movie is 1978, and it's a slasher movie at a summer camp. So kind of a sleepaway camp or actually a Friday the 13th kind of a thing. And
so it was the survivor's story. So the second movie is kind of the survivors.
It's a flashback kind of thing. So she's telling the story of what happened at Camp Nightwings to see if maybe they can figure out some way to survive this whole thing.
Right.
So the third movie is the story of Sarah Fear, the witch, or the woman who was burned as a witch in 1666, who then cursed the town and is the start of all these problems. Now, the neat thing that they do is they do the whole Back to the Future thing where they use the same cast to play all the characters in the past. So Sarah Fear is actually played by the actor who plays our lead. And all the other, the town drunk is actually played by the guy who plays the slasher in the second movie. The patriarch of the town is played by the same guy who plays the sheriff of the town in the modern day. So it does that. And a lot of these characters died in the previous movie. So you're like, oh, they're back. hey, it does a really nice job with that. There are a couple characters. The camp nurse is actually the crazy lady who's suspected of being a witch who gives people like magical potions and elixirs and stuff, who lives just outside of town. Some really great stuff there. And they do this really. So what you're thinking is, okay, so they're doing the thing where Sarah, so we're going to find out what this town did to Sarah Fear to make her sell her soul to the devil so that she could curse the town for how they treated her and burning her alive and blah blah blah. And they kind of twist on that, because she's like, okay, I'm going to go to the woman on the outside of town and I'm going to steal her magic book so that I can make a deal with the devil so that I can have power over this town and get back at them for doing meany things to me. And she goes, and the book is gone, and the woman's throat is slit, and she's lying dead in her house. And it's like, oh,
the healer outside of town woman?
Yeah.
Aww.
And she's like, oh shoot, oh no. And she goes home, and over the next day, the town of Union, or whatever it's called, has suffered weird stuff is happening. All the food is rotting. Her pig, who just had baby piglets, just decided to eat all her babies. The church pastor has locked all the children in the schoolhouse and gouged out their eyes.
Like you do.
And so the story turns into okay, well, wait a minute. If Sarah Fear didn't get the book and sell her soul to the devil and curse the town, who did? And it's like, this is this really interesting. So it's like, was it the drunk guy who is giving them problems and casting aspersions on her that she might be a witch, dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight? Is it the town patriarch who is her betrothed, but she's really not interested in him? We're just friends. Is it the mother of her girlfriend who is like, you're a bad influence on my daughter, stay the hell away from her, you nasty girl? So there's this really cool almost mystery about, well, if it wasn't Sarah Fear, who the hell was it? Unfortunately, you find out about 5 minutes later.
And so you don't get to
I feel the biggest drawback to this movie, I felt, was that really needed room to breathe, because it's like, oh, who is it? Oh, it's that. Oh, okay. And I think the reason they do that, because one of the twists in this is that the second half of the movie is Fear Street 1994 Part 2. So the first half of the movie, the first hour, is the 1666 portion, and then the last half we go back to the modern day to deal with everything and conclude the series. And it's not that doesn't work, but I don't know, maybe flesh out 1666 a bit more, because it was really well done and I was really enjoying it. It just felt a little rushed. That said, the movie kept building on the mythology in a really interesting and fascinating way, and I really liked how it concluded. The end, the climax of the movie, I think, is paced poorly, because they're like making their last stand at the mall that was built on the site of the tree that Sarah Fear was buried under, blah blah blah. And that sequence where they're prepping for their last stand feels like it's 20 minutes of them just dicking around, setting up their Home Alone traps, and it's not bad. It's just like, how much time do you guys actually have before the slashers get to you?
Yeah.
It's like, do you really have this much time to be dawdling around? The last thing I'll say is that my throwaway comment about the preacher who kills a bunch of children in the church. I had complained about the kids who die in the second movie. Are half of them are done off screen, because the really young ones. In the third movie, the preacher gathers up all the kids and locks them in a church and kills all of them, and it's off screen, but it's done really well
Oh,
because they know that the kids are locked in the church with the preacher, and they don't know what's going on, so they end up breaking into the church, and the pastor is sitting up there, and he seems like his eyes are missing, but he's at the pulpit and he's still just muttering nonsense, and he's walking, and all these kids are sitting in the pews not moving, and he's walking down towards with a pitchfork or something, just not sure what's going on, and he gets past that first row with the kids, and he looks, and the kids are with their eyes all there's like this, oh no, the first thing is there's this puddle of flesh on the floor. He's like, poke, poke, poke. What is that? And he looks at the kids, and they're sitting there all like that with their eyes missed. It's a really effective scene. So all the kids are killed off screen, but it's really effectively done. So that's the way to do that. So I really enjoyed the Fear Street movies. I think they did a really nice job of telling their story, and not without its stumbles, but it concluded a lot stronger than I suspected it might. So
I have a quick question about the fact that it's an ensemble cast, which I do love. I love like American and currently the Daniel Radcliffe, Steve Buscemi Miracle Worker, which I haven't seen, but I would love to see. They're doing it. It looks hilarious. If anyone has seen it, let me know if I should start that one. Or I think they're like 3 seasons in, and it's just, but those, since they're specific, they're different worlds. Each season is a different world, even though it's still the exact same cast and they're playing completely different characters. So in this, because it's an ensemble cast, are they saying anything about the lead in 1994? Is she a descendant of Sarah Fear because it's played by the same character? Like, are they making any sort of statement about, because it's the same world, even though it's an ensemble cast? Are they making, or are they just?
In some cases, yes. For example, the patriarch is Solomon Good, while the of the 1666 town, while the sheriff and mayor are Kevin and Robert Good. So it's definitely that family who stayed in power. It's not clear that our protagonist is a direct descendant of Sarah Fear. Well, she's clearly not, because Sarah died before she was killed by the mob before she had kids. So maybe not. Although her brother died in the church. She got strung up in a tree. So yeah, I don't remember if she has parents in this or not. I think she has a dad, but I don't know if there's a mom anywhere. So maybe that line didn't die out, but so in some cases, yes. In other cases, it's just more our modern day protagonist is she's having this vision of what happened with Sarah Fear, and she's casting herself in the role of Sarah Fear, and her girlfriend as Sarah Fear's girlfriend, and her friends as her friends. And the patriarch is the same guy who's the sheriff and the mayor of the town. So it's clear that there is actually a separate actor who plays Sarah Fear, because there are some flashbacks to actually Sarah Fear, and it's a completely different person. But in the vision of 1666, she's inserting all the people she knows into the cast.
I get what you're saying. Yes, yep, I get you. Okay, so another movie that I saw in El Teatro was Cruella. So I saw that one. I think we're now at the point that I'm into June. So we're going to discuss some June movies while brother continues his July slot. So Cruella, I saw it, and I will say it was, so that was my first movie in the theater in 2021 was Cruella. So, and I know for those of you who watch our videos, my last movie in the theater because I talked about that one. So Cruella, and I wasn't, let's be clear, I was not keen on seeing it. And I'll tell you why I wasn't keen on seeing it. Number one, I'm not an Emma Stone fan, and I'll leave it there. So I'm not an Emma Stone fan. And I also, I am an Emma Thompson fan though. And I also,
I like some of the
I
Emmas.
yes, like yeah. Well, there's also the Hermione. She's an Emma, right? Um,
Watson?
yes, there you go. Um, so so yes, I do enjoy the fact that there's this new um type of film coming out of like the backstories of our antagonists. And I am a person who really enjoys um, learning about why psychopaths are psycho, I guess. Like I find it fascinating. I find bad people fascinating. Probably because I'm so good and I have no and I don't mean that in like I mean brother if I could go on and on about like the naivete of my mind, but I'm like I would never even think to do this thing, wouldn't even cross my mind because I am such a stupid goody two shoes. So it does fascinate me those who know how to break rules and are totally fine with it. um, so, but so that being said, like I was on the Maleficent train, I was on a lot of trains for these, like the villains becoming human, but I can't get behind trying to humanize someone who skins puppies for a coat. So I wasn't looking forward to Cruella because of those two reasons. I was like, I'm not ready to be rooting for someone who kills puppies. It's just not
I mean,
who I am.
I have not seen the original 101 Dalmatians since I was very young. But and I keep hearing this, oh, she's a puppy killer. I'm like, is she though? Because I remember she kidnapped puppies and she
Mhm.
was going to eventually kill them, but after they were grown and got their spots, right? I mean, it would seem silly to me to kill puppies because they don't have a lot of surface area, unless she's like really impatient or they're. I mean, she was going to wait until at least they got their spots before she skinned them, right? Or am
I'm
I
still not
misremembering
sure
this?
that makes it better.
Well, I
I
mean,
don't
she's
want
still a
anyone
dog
coming in and
killer.
killing my cat right
I mean,
now.
she's still a dog killer, but I don't recall that she's actually a puppy killer, a puppy kidnapper, and going to kill
Okay.
them when they're grown. I mean, it would be silly to. I mean,
Yes.
why
Well,
kill
because they
something
don't
this
have
small when
their
you can wait?
spots as babies.
One, they don't have
Nope.
their spots until they're
Yeah,
a
they
little bit
don't.
older, and two, they're going to grow into much bigger dogs, which gives you more material to work with, unless there's something, oh, their skin is more pliable when they're young or something
I
like
love that
that.
you're trying to make her crime work for you. You're like, it's
I'm
not
I'm
that bad.
I'm trying to remember what actually happens in the movie. But anyway, please continue.
So I liked it. I thought Cruella was really well done. And she is not, they do obviously, it's a different, I'm not going to give it away because this one is still new enough that maybe people are still kind of seeing it. It's only been a couple months, so I don't think, when we do our, movie thing later of
It's
what
still
ones we're,
on Disney Plus Premier Access, so I'd say,
yeah. But what
not
I will
spoiling
say
it.
about, yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything. It is good for someone going in who didn't really care to see it. And then, so why did you see it, Kelly? Because I was ready to go to the theater. I go to a theater that is a one movie house.
One screen theater, right?
Once, yeah, I go there. It is not a chain. It is very specific to St. Louis. And if I'm going to go to the movies and I'm going to spend my money, I know the owner, and this is where I want my money to go rather than to AMC or Marcus or whoever is in your town. And sometimes you can't help it, but that is where I go to see my movies. That was the movie that was out, and it was time for me to get back to the movies. And it was very good. It was Emma Thompson is killer. Meryl Streep did it a few years ago in a movie called The Devil Wears Prada. And Emma Thompson just took that performance and like really took it to another level, I will tell you. But it literally is like The Devil Wears Prada on crack. Like, I mean, you're talking about design and like, an evil boss that you're just trying to make like you and stuff like that. And she's only going to take you seriously once anyways, but it's still good. It was still fun just because it's not what I expected. It is really cool. I had some problems with timing because Little Miss Emma Stone's character whose name is not Cruella, but doesn't matter. Little Miss Emma Stone's character, she's like 10 or 11 when she finds her little two besties, Hogarth and whatever his name is. I forget their name.
Oh, the two
Horace
minions.
Yeah, Horace and Boris and Natasha. I don't know.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
I know who they are. Flotsam and Jetsam. Jasper and Horace. That's
Jasper and Horace. All right.
So she meets Jasper and Horace when she's around 11, and they're 13, 14. And then it literally says, there's a title card that says 10 years later. And so you're like, okay, early 20s. I can buy that for Emma Watson. I don't want to buy that, but like I can buy that. It's fine. However, the two gentlemen that they got to play Jasper and Horace, I will say it, perfectly cast.
Oh,
Holy
right.
crap. It's like they took the cartoon and were like, we will just, with Disney, they're like, it's incredible. Those two gentlemen who play the live action Jasper and Horace are amazing. However, not even close to their mid-20s.
Yeah.
Which is okay. Neither am I. So I'm not playing someone who's 25. It's never going to happen in my life. It's okay that I'm like, when I was 10, I called this age ancient. And now here I am.
Is Glenn Close in the movie?
Glenn Close is not in the movie.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's a missed opportunity. No. But yeah, so there was a part of me that I'm like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have just called it 10 years. Maybe it should have just been like, years later, or just, we get it. The time has, so that kind of, I'm like, are we still trying to believe that they're like 24? Because they're not. Anyways, it is good. I think it should be watched. I am happy I watched it. I will most likely watch it again when it is not on Premiere Access. We'll watch it with the kiddos. They will enjoy the hell out of it, and I'll enjoy it again. I was surprised at how much I liked it.
So how was Disney's 12th first gay character? I think that eye roll's about all I need.
The wonderful thing about the character is, or any of them that are their first gay characters,
every time is our first.
Every time is their
until
first,
we get it right.
This particular individual, who I'm going to call they, since I do not know their pronouns, and in the movie I can't remember now their name. They are beautiful person, undeniably beautiful, perfect symmetrical face, lovely body, obviously the hair and the makeup and everything. I mean, it's a beautiful human being, which makes it very palatable for people. That's and so like for me, and I get it, all movies are like that. Like you always see like these biopic movies and they're like, this is, we have this person playing and look how close they got to the real person. And I'm like, the movie star is always gorgeous. Like you're not, like, that's why they're movie stars. Because they're gorgeous. And I'm not saying my friends are not gorgeous. I have a million gorgeous friends who go by several different pronouns, but I know tons of people who don't have movie star good looks. And I think that they should. So to me, I'm happy that character is in there. I'm happy. I think it's a fun character. I think that the actor does an amazing job with that character. And I know that I've read an interview with them and they were very excited to have this opportunity to be the first 12th gay character or whatever, or not even gay, just, of the
Well,
community.
definitely was the first 12. But also the 12th first.
Yeah. The other 11 didn't. Anyways, so but there was also the fact that it's still so Disneyfied to make it, because no one could, I mean, lesbians are wonderful as long as they're both super bangable by straight men, right?
Yes. It's like I can't remember what movie it was, but there was some movie touting. It's like, oh, there's we've got a two gay women in this movie, and it's unambiguous that they're gay because they smooch. I'm like, it's two conventionally attractive white women, isn't it? And it's in the background for like a second, isn't it? And it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised. Good job, Disney.
Yay. Yeah.
Had a way to bust down them barriers. It's like, look, queer people exist. I mean, to me, that's like saying, look, we have trees in our movie. Trees exist. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We're very environmentally conscious in our movie.
That's right. See, look, there's trees. All right. My next movie, Anatomy of a Murder.
Wait, year? What year, please?
59.
Got it. Yes, I
James
really want to
Stewart.
see this movie. Was this on Criterion?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I really want to see
At least it was on July 17th. I can't definitively say that it hasn't left the service since then, but yes.
Okay.
So Anatomy of a Murder. This is the weirdest court procedural I have ever seen, possibly.
Oh, no? Okay.
And it's exactly what it said. When I say court procedural, it's exactly what it sounds like. A murder happens, a guy's in jail. James Stewart gets hired to be his defense attorney, and he investigates, and they battle it out in court for 2 hours. That's the movie. It's a court procedural. It's it's compelling, as court procedurals often are. Each new revelation is dramatically interesting, and you want to see where this is going and what actually happened. But
okay.
No one in this movie is likable. All these characters suck.
God, I hate that.
And the reason is the defense attorney knows that the guy is not innocent, and what's the movie with Richard Gere and
Primal Fear.
Primal Fear. Thank you.
I knew you were going there. I don't know how, but I knew psychically.
And Edward Norton. Now, imagine, how would that movie work if Richard Gere knew
Oh God, no.
Who-So-What's-He was faking it from the beginning?
Roy.
Yeah, Roy. Or, you know,
Roy is the bad one. I forget, or the real one.
There was no Aaron, I think. There was no Aaron.
You're right. There was never an
If
Aaron.
he knew from the beginning. Now he is unscrupulous, and he knows he thinks he has multiple personalities, and he tries to get that personality out to win the case, even though that's not the just thing to do. That movie would not have worked if he knew from the beginning that this kid was full of it.
Right.
James Stewart knows this guy. He's basically doing a temporary insanity defense, but he can't tell him that he needs to do that. But he goads him into doing this, like, well, you tell me what has, like, I was really upset. And would you say that upsetness clouded your judgment in any way you might describe? It's like, I just couldn't, he's leading him to
the breaking
how he wants him to plead so that he can set up a defense. And so it makes all the characters completely unlikable. On the other hand, so spoilers. Do you care?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'll watch, but like, in my opinion, if it's from the 50s.
Yeah, it's
statute of limitations is gone.
Yeah, it's 60 years old. So when I say it came out, 59, so 40, 60 years old. Yeah. So as you might expect, like Richard Gere did, he gets this guy off, and he stiffs him his lawyer fee and skips town. And I'm like, I'm okay with this. Yeah, screw this guy. It's really not clear. All the court stuff is, as I said, it's compelling and interesting, but none of it makes any sense as to why anyone's doing anything they're doing. It's like, why did you take this? Oh, it's important. We got to take this case. Yeah, why?
If you know he's Like,
why do you?
guilty.
I was never clear on why, because this case is brought to James Stewart, and I'm like, but why? You don't have any stake in this. I don't understand. I don't get it. He seems perfectly happy just fishing, you know. There is some pretty frank discussions of sexual assault and rape, which it was probably pretty for 1959. So, you know, good on the movie for that. There is actually a funny scene where a linchpin of the evidence is this woman's underwear and where it ended up.
Oh boy.
And so the judge is like, okay, lawyers, people of the gallery, we are going to talk about this woman's panties. And everyone starts giggling. It's like, panties, 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 panties. Okay, go ahead, laugh. Now that you've got that out of your damn system, I don't want to hear any more damn giggling, because we're going to have to talk about this woman's panties and where the hell they are, because that's important, because they're, so I'm like, that's actually pretty funny. I like that. So anatomy
of panties.
I don't like it either. I use the word underwear.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
underwear is not very sexy though. Like the word underwear is not sexy. So if you're trying to be enticing, there's no good word for it. Like briefs, like men can say I have briefs on, or I have my jockeys on, or like that can be nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Or like girls,
panties is just too silly sounding. But what are the
and panties reminds me of like kids put on your panties, or I don't know, panties.
But yeah, underwear is not sexy. Bloomers is not sexy.
Brassiere might be the worst word ever.
Brassiere is kind of off-putting, but bra I think is fine.
Bra is fine.
Bloomers not sexy. Knickers not sexy.
Oh yeah, knickers.
Skivvies not sexy.
That's why I go commando.
We should all go. I was just about to make that joke. We should all go to commando so we don't have to worry about it. All right, next movie, Alice. Now, this is a Czechoslovakian movie from 1988, which is a stop motion and live action retelling of Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
So
from 88, dang.
Yeah, well, it's primarily Czechoslovakian from what I can understand, but it was also in a collaboration with Switzerland, United Kingdom, and West Germany. So a lot of people worked on this project. How it's done is almost the entire thing is animated with stop motion, but Alice herself, for the most part, is a little girl actor, live actor. And she can't act, but she's 8, so, you know, whatever. But her kind of gormless stare kind of works. Yeah, you know, with her, she's half, because it's a dreamland, and the movie does a really excellent job of dream logic. This is totally a story that you would tell me after you woke up. So I had this dream and I'm going to tell you the entire thing, all the details front to back. It's that kind of dream logic. It's actually really done in that regard. The stop motion isn't great, but it's ugly in a really fascinating way. So like the White Rabbit is this taxidermied rabbit that comes alive. Okay. And so it's animated fairly poorly with stop motion animation, but it's such an ugly ass bunny, and it's so weird because it's open in the center and its sawdust keeps spilling out, and that's like the pocket where it keeps its watch, where I'm late. And God. It's like, oh shoot, and it picks up the sawdust and starts eating it to try and fill itself back up. It is so weird. There is a, you know, in the story where she eats the side of the mushroom or whatever and she shrinks. Yeah. How they do that is they just turn her into a doll and then they stop animate the doll. That doll is a better actor than this little girl. They get a lot more emotion out of this damn blank-faced doll than they did out of the kid. And again, not to poop on this kid, but she's 8. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. But I did think that I was sitting there watching this. I'm like, this doll's a better actor.
I like
What-
that you just looked off the side to no one. You're like,
Yeah,
hey,
no, just,
I do that though.
one of my, it's really the whole dream logic of the movie is and the really janky, ugly stop motion visuals make this a really compelling watch to me. It's definitely not going to be for everyone. I think a lot of people, if you're not really into the art, a lot of people clearly work very hard on this. And I find that kind of the craftsmanship I find fascinating. If you're not into that, you'll probably find this movie kind of boring, much like listening to my sister regale you with her dreams.
Hey, I think Jeremy really liked the episodes that happened in my head last night when I told him this morning.
Yep. One more thing I want to say about the movie that I thought was really funny. So there's a bit where, so she's in her room and she chases the white rabbit, and suddenly she's, she walks to the other side of the room. She's out in the field, as happens in dreams.
Sure.
And she sees a desk, kind of like an old school desk with a
raven on it. Is there a raven on the writing desk?
No.
Oh.
And just sitting out in the middle of the field, and she goes and she opens the drawer, and she crawls headfirst into the drawer. And it's that magic trick where there's a desk that you can see under, and they climb in the drawer, but they disappear. You can still see under the desk. It's that effect.
Yeah.
The funny thing is they obviously had a stunt actor crawling into the drawer, because the legs that are kicking out of the drawer is an adult woman's legs. Those are not the little girl's legs. That is an adult woman's legs kicking outside the drawer.
That's awesome.
That was so funny to me.
That's great.
But if you like stop motion, if you love the craft behind this stuff, and you like really weird visuals, I think this is worth checking out, if at least just watching for 20 minutes. Once you've seen 20 minutes, you've probably seen it, and if you like it, keep going. If not, you've seen something interesting at least.
That's cool. That's cool. I don't even know about that. I don't think I've ever read Alice in Wonderland. Can't.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever read any the original Lewis Carroll stuff. Yeah.
So we watched Mortal Kombat.
Oh, the new one.
Yes.
Oh, all right. How is it?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's so again, because it's new, I'm gonna say two things about it that because it's us, will take me 20 minutes.
Is there actually a Mortal Kombat fighting tournament in the Mortal Kombat movie?
They don't get there.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so
how do you fuck this up?
This is what I'm saying. So it starts, so it's very exciting, right? Because it starts, and the whole idea is that champions were born, they have the Mortal Kombat symbol as like a birthmark somewhere on their body. These people, they don't know what it is. It's just like a birthmark, blah, blah, blah.
Is it literally the Mortal Kombat dragon? Oh, Jesus.
That it is. So anyway, so the point is, the Mortal Kombat championship thing is a non, right? So now we need to gather up our champions so that we can win this, because the state of the world is, and we don't want the bad people of Mortal Kombat.
So instead of scouting the world's best fighters, they're looking for people with specific birthmarks?
Yes, because
those stupid
are the champions. But here's some more of the lore. If you kill a champion, just like in a general, like
from one of the past tournaments?
No, like
just anyone with a birthmark.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Then the birthmark transfers to you, because now you're a champion, because if you were able to kill them, you get the thing. But no,
Shades of Highlander. Okay.
Yeah, there can be. But here's the two things that are wrong with the movie. So there's some fun fighting, and there's some fun things, and terrible, and they never really get there. But like the dude is starting to gather his champions, while the Mortal Kombat, like the actual Mortal Kombat, is literally weeks away. And he's like starts his recruiting, and I'm like, and one of the dudes
it's like those tournaments have like a generation between them. Maybe it could have started a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Well, especially because one of the guys is a boxer without a shirt on and has a big old Mortal Kombat tattoo. Well, it's not a tattoo. And he's like, oh, that's just a birthmark. I'm like,
no, that's not a birthmark.
The world, you did not have to look hard for this guy. He is on television. He is a boxer. He has this really random dragon birth.
Oh, is this the new guy, the Louis Tan character?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I'm just like, why are you waiting until the last minute to train your champions? Like, what is this? It's like, so that's dumb. But
oh shit! Mortal Kombat was today.
Damn it! I need to get a better assistant. You're fired. It's like, go find my champion.
I should have updated my Google Calendar.
So the best moment of the whole movie, though. So I mean, it's schlocky. I like where they took it. I like the idea that they had. They just executed it so poorly. Like I could see in like the pitch meeting or like because again, Mortal Kombat it's a video game. It doesn't have a plot other than
there is very deep lore, I will have you know.
Button mashing. I was a button masher, as brother.
And you kept winning.
I know.
It's not fair.
I know.
I learn all the moves. I practice them. My sister's and she beats me.
Forward and all the buttons at once. And I never let up. This is how I play.
Now, most people use their thumb or maybe their fingers to get super tapping. Kelly she's palm of her hand, just whack, 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 all of them.
All of them.
She wins.
I win. Best scene in the movie is, so the new guy is with Sonya and Kano is always a favorite just because of how he's depicted in movies.
I miss Trevor Goddard.
Continues to rise to the top of like, you're just awesome. So Kano's tied up because he's a bad guy. Sonya has captured him, right? Okay. So he's tied up. And this is the scene that all of the lore and explanation comes out. This is the exposition scene, like 30 minutes into the movie. Like, oh, did you not know this? And oh, did you not know this? That scene. So Sonya's telling new kid, the lore and about having the birthmark and being born with it. And then if you kill someone, it transfers to you and blah, blah, blah. And so Kano has a mark because
did he kill someone for it or did he?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So Kano unceremoniously killed someone to get his mark. And so that's why Sonya has him all tied up. And, she's like, that's bad. And so new guy.
That apparently is the rules.
Yes. So new guy says to her, he goes, how did you get yours? I can't because I'm so bad at telling jokes. This is why I don't tell jokes. So Sonya goes, I don't have one. And in the back, not it off camera, you hear Kano go, wah, wah. Because she's like, I don't have one.
What's she doing there then? Why doesn't Sonya Blade have a
like, oh, are you gonna kill Kano? No, her plan wasn't to kill Kano to get his either. She's wanted to stop him. She's just a groupie, maybe?
She's a Mortal Kombat group. Oh, you done Sonya Blade dirty, movie. What the hell?
But just the idea that in the background, like they're having a very serious conversation about how naughty Kano, naughty, and you were born with it. Look at you, and oh, how'd you get yours? I don't have one. And it doesn't cut to him, and it doesn't anything. It's just in the background, and his little Aussie accent. That's the best part of the movie, right there.
So,
I mean, there's good action. There's some stuff. It happens, and it literally you watch it, and it's like having a piece of candy because once the candy's gone, you're like immediately ready to move to something else. You're like, all right, that's fine.
So, when I saw the trailer, I saw that Melina was in the movie, but they're not doing the like face full of big teeth. They just seem to smear raspberry jam on her cheeks. Do they do anything else, or do they just smear raspberry jam on her cheeks and call it a day?
They don't really get it. Like, no, as I said, it's just a warm, like they're just getting ready for the thing. There's no denouement. We just go. Unless I literally fell asleep and there was an end credits like with a championship that I didn't.
No, I meant the thing is Melina is half Tartakan,
She has,
Baraka.
yeah, she has that eat you thing, or like she takes off her mask and goes, yeah.
Oh, so so that was, they just, I guess, covered it up for the trailer because it was too gross or something. Because on all the movie posters, it's just a woman with like blood and crap smeared on her cheeks. I'm like, but
it looks better.
Her
than
mouth
that.
is open up to here with all kinds of teeth. Would do that. I mean, did you not?
It looks better than that.
Oh, okay,
but it's not.
That's good. Let me guess. Sonia and Melina get into a fight because they're the only two women in the movie.
There's always a chick fight. They're like, oh well, yeah. And
well, I mean, what's Sonia gonna fight? A guy?
Kano makes it to the like he escape. He leaves and he escapes, and so she doesn't kill him and get the little symbol of Kano's. But that wasn't her plan, anyways. She's just a group.
I think I read something today or yesterday that they're thinking about making a Sonya Blade movie.
I mean, honestly,
like, okay.
As long as it's not this actress, and Bridget Nielsen is a little too she's older now. She's also not acting. I got that last name right, Nielsen.
Isn't it Wilson?
Red Sonja was the Brigitte Nielsen.
Brigitte Nielsen is the Red Sonja. Yeah, I think it's Bridget Wilson's the
Bridget Wilson is
the 94 movie.
Right.
94, 95, something like that.
Red Sonja, yo.
Yep. All right, which they've been trying to make into another movie for years.
I know.
All right, so next movie I watched.